Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So this year in 2023, a $485 increase is on the line for certain Social Security beneficiaries. We're going to be going over an update on that bill. Plus, we're going to be going over another bill that would greatly benefit all SSI beneficiaries. We're going to be going over that bill, and it just happens to be bipartisan as well. So we're going to be covering why exactly that bill should pass. But before we go ahead and dive into the main content of today's video, if you wouldn't mind helping me out real quickly by just giving this video a like, that just helps out with the good old YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already. Okay, so first off, we're going to start off this video by going over a video that's sort of gone a little bit viral. It's in regards to Social Security benefits and the maximum benefit. So basically, they had a Senate Budget Committee hearing, and they discussed ways that they can shore up the Social Security program. And one of the Republican witnesses made a comment about the maximum benefit being a little bit too high. Right now, it is $43,000 per year if you were to receive the maximum benefit. Now, very few Americans actually receive the maximum benefit because they would have to pretty much be maxing out their earnings every single year for 30 years. So very few Americans actually receive this, but basically the Republican witness is saying this amount is a little bit too high, that we should be lowering this amount. That way we can shore up the Social Security program and continue to pay out full benefits past the 2033 date. So we're going to be watching this video, and then we're going to be coming back to talk about it.
No proposal that reflects the extreme end of one side of the political and economic spectrum will be enacted. Instead, both parties in Congress, Republicans and Democrats, should focus on working together to forge a compromise. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Biggs, is the point of your comparison with OECD countries that U.S. Social Security benefits are too high?
The comparison is that they are, in fact, higher.
Do you believe they are too high?
I believe the maximum benefit in the United States is too high, yes. $43,000 per year is far more than is needed to protect against poverty and old age.
Too high answers my question. Thank you. Mr. Goss.
So what are your thoughts about this video? Do you believe that $43,000 per year in Social Security benefits is too much, that these high earners should actually be receiving less than that amount? Or do you think we should be keeping it exactly the same and perhaps shoring up the program in another way, such as taxing those earning above $250,000 or $400,000 per year? Let me know what your thoughts and comments are below. So now we're going to go ahead and dive into a couple of different bills that are currently in Congress. First off, the one that would greatly benefit SSI beneficiaries. And in this bill, it would do that because right now in 2023, unfortunately, there is one rule bounded for people on SSI, and that is the asset limit requirement. So right now for single individuals, it's $2,000 is the maximum that you can hold in certain assets. And for couples, interestingly enough, it's only $3,000. So you would think for two people, for couples, it would be double the amount for individuals at $4,000, but instead it's only at $3,000. And this has not been updated for decades, unfortunately. And it really, bounds people because let's say you have an emergency expense that comes up of like $5,000, but you're only allowed to have $2,000 in assets. Well, how exactly are you able to pay off that emergency expense? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So we can see on this website here that the Supplemental Security Income Program for low-income, elderly, and disabled people has the strictest savings limits of any federal program. Eligibility is limited to people who have only $2,000 or $3,000 for couples. This is not enough for beneficiaries to weather an emergency, let alone provide stability or save for the future. And they are exactly right, because with just $2,000 or $3,000 for couples, how exactly are you supposed to save up in the case of an emergency? It's just not realistic. And unfortunately, if you actually go over that amount, your benefits could actually possibly be terminated. So it goes on to say that the resource limit is the leading cause of erroneous payments in the SSI program and leads to churn because beneficiaries who even go slightly over the outdated limit are suspended and then terminated. Beneficiaries who exceed the limit typically rack up thousands of dollars in overpayments that are extremely difficult to repay from their meager benefits. Additionally, SSA employees must administer these complex and inefficient rules amid a customer service crisis they are in due to underfunding. So this is just a bad law all in all. It definitely needs to be updated, and thankfully we do have a bill currently in Congress called the SSI Savings Penalty Elimination Act, and it would actually boost the amount you could have in savings. So the article goes on to say that the SSI Savings Penalty Elimination Act would raise the amount of savings a person on SSI could keep for the first time in over 30 years. The bill raises SSI asset limits from $2,000 to $10,000 for individuals and from $3,000 to $20,000 for married couples. So this would do a lot. It would raise that maximum by 5x the amount that individuals could save from $2,000 to $10,000, and for married couples up from $3,000 to $20,000. Now, a lot of people might argue this still is not enough, but just doing something is certainly better than nothing. And we can look at the bill here on congress.gov. We can actually see this is a bipartisan bill. So unlike a lot of the other bills kind of circling Social Security, which would short the program, do great things for it, a lot of the bills that we're seeing are unfortunately partisan, where we only have either Democrats supporting it or we only have Republicans supporting. But this bill, you can see, it has support from both Democrats and Republicans. This bill currently has 4 co-sponsors from Republicans and 3 co-sponsors from Democrats. So because it's bipartisan, this bill could actually stand a chance of passing. I really don't understand why they wouldn't pass it. But let me know what your thoughts and comments are below. Would you like to see this bill pass? Would you like to see the asset limits raised even more? Would you like to see something even better done than this bill? Now, other than that, of course, we have another bill currently in Congress which would raise benefits by as much as $485 for some beneficiaries of Social Security. This bill is currently being led by John Larson. So we have an update here on the Connecticut's nonprofit journalism website. So they say that with Social Security fund running dry, Connecticut Dems push for reform. So Representative John Larson recently reintroduced legislation that would increase benefits by 2% for the first time in 52 years, bolster the program's solvency by requiring high earners to contribute more to payroll taxes, and boost the cost of living adjustment to better reflect current inflation. So you can see, to start things off, everyone receiving Social Security benefits would receive an instant increase of 2%, and they would also change the way in which the COLAs are adjusted over to the CPIE method, which historically have been higher than what they currently use, which is the CPIW. So they go on to talk about how this would impact Social Security. So current estimates show depletion of the trust fund for old age and survivors insurance in the early to mid 2030s, which could result in people receiving reduced benefits amounting to about a 20% cut. But lawmakers and advocates emphasized that the program will remain intact even with challenges surrounding its solvency. So with the bill's reintroduction since the last session of Congress, Larson said the Social Security 2100 Act would have closed a loophole with the payroll tax, which he believes could extend the solvency of the trust fund to 2066. So obviously extending this date out to 2066, in addition to the 2% raise for everyone receiving benefits, plus the increased COLAs every single year, that alone would really help the program and help a lot of beneficiaries out. But in addition to that, this bill, for a lot of people, at least receiving the special minimum benefit, those folks could actually receive an increase as much as $485. Now we're going to be talking about how we got the math here. So a $485 increase, how do we get from that? So right now they do have something called the special minimum benefit. And unfortunately, if you're receiving the special minimum benefit, it just really is not enough. And Larson is completely in agreement with that. That's why he wants to boost the special minimum benefit to 25% above the federal poverty line. So we have a couple of different numbers here. We have the special minimum benefit, and we also have the federal poverty line. So in 2023, the special minimum benefit is right now at $1,033.50. And currently for individuals, we have the federal poverty line that's currently sitting at $14,580 for individuals. So if we were to take that federal poverty line and multiply that by 1.25, which would be 25% above the federal poverty line, we can see the annual benefit would increase to $18,225 on an annual basis. If we take this annual basis number and we go out just by a month, that would come out to $1,518 per month, which would be an increase of $485. So this would really greatly benefit those who are receiving the least amount of money on Social Security, receiving that special minimum benefit. So the article goes on to say that while most Democrats in the House have signed on to the legislation, there are currently no Republican co-sponsors, which is needed in order to pass the GOP-led chamber. So obviously, in order for this bill to stand any chance of passing, they will need to get Republican co-sponsors onto the bill, and that's something that Larson is currently working on. He's going to his Republican colleagues across the aisle saying, hey, what do we have to do to make sure that this bill passes? Can we add some things that maybe you want? And they are adding some things that, Republicans are wanting, such as repealing the windfall elimination provision and the GPO. And, despite doing that, they're still not getting Republicans on board. So they really need to do something to make sure that Republicans, there's something in this bill that Republicans, could get on board with. That way they can have enough support in both the House and the Senate for this bill to pass. So whether or not it actually ends up passing, we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully they are able to do enough to get Republicans on board. That way they can garner enough support and people on Social Security can reap the rewards of all the benefits that would be in this bill. But let me know what your thoughts and comments are below on this bill. Would you like for it to pass? Would you like for something to perhaps be added into this bill? Let me know what your thoughts and comments are below. But that's all the news that we have for today's video. I certainly hope that you enjoyed. If you did, again, I would greatly appreciate if you could give this video a like. Consider subscribing to my channel if you have not already, and I will see you in the next video.